We now invite Dr. Anita Friedman, Executive Director of Jewish Family and Children's Services of the San Francisco Bay Area, to the stage to introduce our next speaker.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. It's just a joy to be with all of you. My first JPAC conference, we had 40 people, and now we have 500, so we're moving in the right direction. And I have a favorite uncle, Uncle Solomon, and I told him I was going to come and be with you here this morning. He asked me his favorite question. He said, Anita, I know you work with the Jewish community. Tell me, in one word, how are things? I said, good. And in 2 words, he said, in 2 words, I said, not good. So here we are together again. Some of you are here for the first time, some of you have been coming, but all of us are here for the same purpose, which is to build a better Jewish community, a better society, a more decent society, a more morally courageous society going forward. It's my honor this morning to introduce the Superintendent of Public Instruction, Tony Thurmond. Tony Thurmond leads the largest school district in the country with approaching 6 million students. And we know that as California goes, so goes the nation. You've read his bio, it's online. I wanted to share with you 3 areas where we, on behalf of JPAC and the organized Jewish community, have worked with the superintendent in a way that I think is very profound and important to understand. Because at this moment, when many of us feel that our hearts have been broken, people like Tony Thurmond restore our faith. He is, by background, he's Latino by American by identity, African American by identity, and Jewish by religion. We have worked together in many ways. When the ethnic studies issue exploded, and many of you are quite aware of that, it was a wake-up call for the organized Jewish community. I was appointed by the state senate to represent many of our issues on the Instructional Quality Commission of the State Board of Education. We rejected the anti-Israel, basically curriculum that demonized Jews. We introduced a new curriculum that was more inclusive, included lesson plans about Jews, other minorities, and was designed to create a more culturally competent classroom that recognized the story of all children. Superintendent Tony Thurmond was there with us all the way. He led the way. He was a champion. He was courageous. He represented our interest. And that curriculum, including the IRA definition of anti-Semitism, was unanimously approved by the State Board of Education. The superintendent gets a lot of credit. Of course, you know that that fight is not over. It's now moved to the school districts, 1,000 school districts and 1,000 charter schools, which means 2,000 school districts that have to deal with this issue, many of whom are good on our issues, many of them are adversaries, and many of whom don't have a clue. We decided to do a couple things, and the governor was in the lead on this. He established the Governor's Council on Holocaust and Genocide Education to elevate education about Holocaust and genocide in every school district, in every county, in the entire state of California. Tony Thurmond, along with me, is a co-chair, along with Attorney General Bonta and State Senator Stern. That effort is moving forward with state funding to make sure that Holocaust education and genocide education, and many of our allies from other ethnic groups who also have a genocide story to tell, are here today with us, and I want to especially welcome you as our allies in this effort. Holocaust education, and we're working on this with the superintendent, is not about what happened in Berlin in 1939. It's about anti-Semitism. It's about teaching who are the Jews. What do we stand for? What has our contribution been? What is the Holocaust in the arc of Jewish history? What does contemporary anti-Semitism look like, and how is it in all of our best interest to fight discrimination against minorities and against Jews? Tony's been a lead on that effort. And thirdly, we decided teachers need to understand about how to teach the subject matter. We established a statewide collaborative, which includes thousands of teachers who are now learning with state funding how to teach this subject matter in every school, and the superintendent has been in the lead on that issue. Those are 3 areas that are going to transform what happens, because the fight now is for the hearts and minds of children. And we are in that fight in a leadership way, through K through 12, and that will make it all the difference for Jews and other minorities to live in this country comfortably. So I would like to invite Superintendent Tony Thurmond to the stage with gratitude for your leadership.
Good morning, everyone. I know it's hard for me to live up to those great words that Dr. Friedman just said, but good morning, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to your state capitol. You know, people always say, what is the state superintendent of public instruction? Half the time they say, superintendent of construction? Why do we have construction? And I tell them, you don't want me doing the construction, but in my role, you know, I do get to work with those 1,000 school districts. And it's confusing because they say you're over all these districts, but yet each one of these districts has its own school board and superintendent and makes their decisions. And so I get to work here in Sacramento and help to get resources to our schools, to support our educators, to work with our legislators. As you heard from Dr. Friedman, I might have set a record as a former legislator. I was a member of 3 caucuses, a member of the Jewish caucus, a member of the Legislative Latino caucus, and a member of California's Black caucus. And I don't know what that qualifies me for, but I'll tell you this, I think it takes those kind of coalitions to really beat back what we're seeing, not just in California, but throughout the country. And we've, you know, at our department, we don't have investigators who can go out and investigate when there's a swastika or some other issue on campus. But I've made a pledge that on my watch, we will never let any act of anti-Semitism stand in a school, and we will go out and we will address it directly at any school in the state. I appreciated the rabbi's message about endurance. We are enduring many things, but we are a people who are more than the sum of our circumstances, and we will overcome. And this is a state that has done great things in education. We guarantee preschool for every 4-year-old in the state. We give universal, yeah, that's a great place to put your hands together. We give universal meals to every hungry student, 2 meals a day, regardless of their background, their neighborhood, their zip code. We're making sure that all of our children will learn to read by 3rd grade so that they can participate and do great things in their life. We're going to make sure they learn about personal finance and computer science. But many of our students do not know that the Holocaust was real. And so that's why it's my honor to work with Dr. Friedman and Senator Stern and the Attorney General Bonta on the Governor's Council on Holocaust education, because we must make sure that our students not only know but never forget, because hate and atrocity towards one group can be hate and atrocity towards any group. Our struggles are completely connected, and we must make sure that our students understand that. And all those wonderful things that Dr. Friedman said, I just do what she tells me to do. You know, I learned that early on. When you find someone who's a great mentor who knows how to get things done, you just roll with them, because if not, you're going to get run over. And Dr. Friedman has really been a statewide champion to lift up important conversations even before October 7th, and she's the right leader. Where are you, Dr. Friedman? Thank you again for your incredible leadership, your friendship, your mentorship. You know, we are reaching out to every school when we hear conversations, when we hear examples and acts of hate. We reach out to every school district. Well, what we see is that many districts think that they're engaging in some kind of modern day, you know, history conversation, but what, you know, using real events. But what they're doing is they're allowing someone to use a term like "die dirty Jew" or a swastika on campus, and that is never, ever allowed and cannot be tolerated, and we will not tolerate that. And so I'm proud to be sponsoring a new piece of legislation with Senator Henry Stern that will create a new Office of Civil Rights at the California Department of Education, so that we have the ability to investigate each and every one of these acts of hate that pop up. And so I hope that while you're here in your lobby day, you will talk about your support for SB 1421. And you may only get a few minutes with a legislator. And if you do, in my humble opinion, I think that you should tell them what you care about the most, and then afterwards, make small talk. That's different than Sacramento Speak says that you make small talk for 14 minutes, and in that final 15th minute, you talk about the most complex issue that you have in mind. When I was a legislator, I had a lot of meetings like that, and it was hard to remember the important issue. And so I always suggest you flip it. You talk about the most important issue first, what you want the legislator to support, what you need support, or what you need them to oppose, and then you make small talk. And then you find out where their district office is, and you make sure you keep going to their district office to talk to them about the importance of every member in this legislature being an ally and someone who says that we will never stand for any form of hate, not in our schools, not in our community, not in our streets. And so I welcome you to your state capitol. I hope that you have a fabulous lobby day. I hope that you will reach out to us at the California Department of Education. And I do hope that you will support SB 1421 and to continue to build off of the rabbi's opening message that we are a people who will endure. Oh, by the way, I forgot to ask, is there anybody here from my hometown? Is there anybody here who's a member of Temple Beth Hillel in Richmond? Hello, Richmond. And is there anybody here who is a member of Bethel in Berkeley under the leadership? I think there's someone here under the under the leadership of Rabbi Rebecca Stern, who's been a great advisor and friend to me and on legislative issues and on life issues. I'm grateful that you are. It's easy in moments of struggle to just complain, but you're doing more than that. You're taking up your leadership and your advocacy to say that we can change the world. And so while it is difficult, we will shoulder the load together, and we can do more together, and we will make sure that we stamp out anti-Semitism in any form, and we will make sure that our students know, understand, and remember the history of the Holocaust in this country. Thank you so much for being here.